The first time I saw the twin moons of Veilora, they were bleeding silver light across a sky that shimmered like liquid crystal. The atmosphere carried a faint violet tint, and the cities below glowed in spirals instead of grids, living architecture grown from coral-like alloys and bioluminescent vines. I was not meant to be there. Humans were tolerated on Veilora, but only as diplomats, scientists, or carefully supervised traders. We were a young species compared to the Veilorans, whose empire had ruled entire star clusters long before Earth learned to split the atom. And at the center of that empire stood one being whose name alone could silence fleets. Queen Estra Veilora. They called her the Star Matriarch, the flame of 10,000 suns, the sovereign of silence. To me, she was simply the most dangerous obstacle between my heart and her daughter. I had arrived as part of Earth's cultural exchange program, a fragile diplomatic effort meant to ease tensions after the Skarn border conflict. The official line was cooperation. The unofficial truth was survival. Humanity needed allies. Veilora needed obedience. And somewhere between those two truths, I met Princess Liriana. 2. The Princess of Light. Liriana did not resemble the terrifying depictions of her kind broadcast across human networks. Yes, her eyes shimmered like molten gold. Yes, faint constellations glowed beneath her translucent skin when she felt strong emotion. And yes, her presence carried a gravity that made even seasoned generals stand straighter. But when she smiled, the universe softened. We met in the Grand Archive, a floating cathedral of knowledge orbiting Veilora's capital. I was assigned to assist in translating ancient human star charts into Veiloran script. She was there to study primitive navigation philosophies, as her tutors put it. She found my methods amusing. "You trusted your lives to burning gases in the sky?" she asked, golden eyes curious. "We still do," I replied. "We just give them better names now." She laughed, quiet, melodic, like wind passing through crystal chimes. That laugh undid me. Weeks turned into months. Our conversations stretched from stellar physics to poetry. She asked about Earth oceans. I asked about the living spires of Veilora, which grew in response to collective emotion. She was not sheltered, as I had assumed. She was observant, sharp, hungry for understanding beyond her empire's doctrine, and lonely. It was easy to forget that she was the heir to an interstellar throne. Easy to forget that her mother commanded armadas capable of reducing planets to stardust. Easy, until the night everything changed. 3. The Forbidden Word. Veiloran culture prized strength above all else. Affection was expressed through duty, loyalty, and sacrifice, not through softness. Public displays of intimacy were considered destabilizing, especially for royalty. Liriana had confided this to me as we stood on the Skybridge overlooking the capital, a ribbon of energy suspended above the city's core. "My mother believes love weakens rulers," she said. "And what do you believe?" I asked. She hesitated. The faint starlight beneath her skin pulsed brighter. "I believe love reveals who we truly are." I should have stopped there. I should have remembered I was human, temporary, fragile in a world of living gods. Instead, I reached for her hand. Her skin was warm, electric. "You don't have to choose between strength and love," I said quietly. "You can have both." She looked at me as though I had rewritten the laws of physics. And then, without thinking, without calculation or diplomacy, I said it. "My love." 2 words. Soft. Human. Honest. The air changed. The temperature dropped. The city's glow dimmed for a heartbeat. And behind us, a voice like a collapsing star spoke. "You dare." 4. The Queen's Fury. I turned slowly. Queen Estra stood at the far end of the Skybridge, her form towering, regal, radiant with contained fury. Her armor was not metal but crystallized starlight, shifting and alive. A crown of luminous shards hovered above her brow. Her eyes locked onto me. Not Liriana.
Me.
"Did you call my daughter my love, human?" she asked, each word precise, lethal. My instincts screamed to kneel, to apologize, to beg. But Liriana's hand tightened around mine. "Yes," I said. Silence rippled outward like a shockwave. The queen began to walk toward us. Each step caused the energy beneath her feet to flare violently. The bridge trembled. "You presume possession," she continued. "You presume equality." "I presume nothing," I answered, though my pulse thundered in my ears. I spoke from my heart. "Your heart," she echoed, disdain curling through her voice. "A fragile organ in a fragile body." Liriana stepped forward. "Mother enough." The queen did not look at her. "This human forgets his place." "I know exactly where I stand," I said. "Beside her." The words hung between us like a blade. In one fluid motion, the queen raised her hand. Energy coiled around her fingers, bright enough to blind. I believed I would die. Instead, Liriana moved. She placed herself between us. A daughter's defiance. "Mother," Liriana said, her voice trembling but firm, "if you strike him, you strike me." Gasps erupted from the royal guards who had materialized at the bridge's edge. The queen's power flickered, unstable for the first time. "You would defend a human?" she asked. "I would defend the truth." "And what truth is that?" "That I choose him." The city below seemed to hold its breath. The queen lowered her hand slowly, but the fury did not fade. "Choice is a luxury for those without responsibility," she said coldly. "You are not one of them." "I am your daughter," Liriana replied. "Not your weapon." The queen's gaze finally shifted to her child. In that moment, I glimpsed something beyond anger. Fear. Not fear of me. Fear of losing control. "Return to the palace," Estra commanded.
No.
The word struck harder than any weapon. The queen's eyes flared white-hot. "You test the boundaries of my mercy." "And you test the limits of my obedience," Liriana answered. I realized then that this confrontation had little to do with me. I was merely the catalyst, the spark in a conflict long buried beneath imperial expectations. The queen turned back to me. "You'll stand trial at dawn," she declared. "For sedition, for manipulation of the royal heir." "And if he refuses?" Liriana demanded. "Then he will be executed." 6. The trial of a human. Valoran trials were not conducted in courtrooms, but in the Chamber of Resonance, a circular hall where truth was measured by bioenergetic frequency. Lies created discord. Truth harmonized. I stood alone in the center. Queen Estra presided from an elevated dais. Liriana was confined behind a barrier of shimmering force, unable to approach. "You are accused of corrupting the air through emotional coercion," the queen announced. "How do you plead?" "Innocent." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "Do you deny calling her my love?"
No.
"Do you deny intent to claim her loyalty above the empire?" "I never asked her to choose," I said. "She chose freely." The chamber glowed faintly as it measured the resonance of my words. "Harmony." The queen's expression darkened. "Love," she said, almost contemptuously. "Explain this human obsession." I took a breath. Love isn't possession. It's recognition. It's seeing someone's strength and vulnerability and choosing to stand with them anyway. The chamber brightened. "Your species wages constant war," the queen countered. "So does yours," I replied. Maybe that's why we both struggle with softness. A sharp intake of breath from the audience. Liriana's eyes shone. The queen descended from her dais, stopping a mere meter from me. You speak boldly, for one so small. I speak honestly. The chamber flared brilliantly. Truth. For the first time, uncertainty crossed the queen's face. 7. The hidden threat. Before the verdict could be delivered, alarms shattered the chamber's stillness. Red light pulsed across the walls. An officer rushed forward. Your Majesty, Skarn warships have breached the outer perimeter. The Skarn, ancient enemies of Veolora, ruthless and opportunistic. They exploit our internal distraction, the officer continued. The Queen's fury transformed into icy focus. How many? 30 dreadnoughts. A full assault fleet. Liriana looked at me through the barrier. They know we're divided. The Queen raised her chin. Prepare the armadas. But I saw calculation behind her eyes. The Valoran fleets were powerful, but scattered. Reinforcements would take time. Time they did not have. Your Majesty, I said carefully, Earth has ships in this sector. She turned sharply. You would involve your primitive fleet in Imperial war? They're not primitive, I replied. And they owe me a favor. Liriana's eyes widened slightly. The Queen studied me. Why would you risk your world? She asked. Because if Veolora falls, Earth is next. The truth of that resonated without need for the chamber. Esther considered for a long moment. Then she nodded once. Transmit to your fleet. 8. Fire among the stars. The sky above Veolora erupted into chaos. Skarn dreadnoughts, black and jagged, unleashed torrents of plasma toward the planet's defense grid. Valoran cruisers rose to meet them, sleek and luminous. Moments later, human warships exited hyperspace, smaller, angular, but numerous. I stood beside the Queen in the command spire, watching the battle unfold. You fight well, she admitted grudgingly as Earth vessels executed a risky flanking maneuver. We've had practice, I said. Explosions painted the void in violent color. One Skarn dreadnought broke through the perimeter, targeting the capital directly. Without hesitation, Liriana stepped forward. Authorize my command, she told her mother. The Queen hesitated only a second before nodding. Liriana closed her eyes. The constellations beneath her skin ignited. She linked directly to the Planetary Defense Core, a neural interface reserved for royalty. Energy surged upward from the planet's core, forming a spear of pure light that pierced the dreadnought's hull. It detonated spectacularly. The remaining Skarn ships faltered under combined human and Valoran assault. Within the hour, the invasion was broken. Silence returned to the stars. 9. A Queen's Reckoning. Back in the Chamber of Resonance, the atmosphere felt different, less rigid. The Queen faced the assembly. This human fought for Veolora, she said. Not out of obligation, but choice. She turned to me. You risked extinction for people who scorned you. I did it for her, I said honestly. And for peace. The chamber glowed once more, steady and strong. The Queen exhaled slowly. Perhaps I have mistaken vulnerability for weakness. Liriana stepped forward. Barrier dissolved. Love did not weaken me, Mother, she said softly. It gave me something worth protecting. Estra looked between us. Veolora does not bow easily, she said, but it adapts. She faced the assembly. The charges against the human are dismissed. Relief flooded through me. And, she added, fixing me with a piercing gaze, if you dare break her heart, no fleet in existence will shield you from me. I wouldn't dream of it, I replied. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched her lips. The bridge rebuilt. Weeks later, I stood again on the Skybridge. This time, there was no tension in the air, only possibility. Liriana leaned against me, her glow calm and steady. My mother has authorized a joint human-Valoran council, she said. Shared leadership in frontier systems. That's historic. She says strength is not diminished by partnership. I smiled. High praise. She looked up at me, golden eyes warm. You still dare call me that word? I brushed a strand of luminous hair from her face. My love. A soft laugh escaped her. Yes, she whispered. Behind us, unseen but present, the queen watched from the palace balcony, not with fury, but with measured acceptance. The universe was vast, dangerous, uncertain. But in that moment, beneath twin moons and a sky no longer hostile, I understood something profound. Empires rise through power. They endure through connection. And sometimes, all it takes to reshape the stars are two forbidden words.